In this slidecast, we're going to look at value propositions. The value proposition is at the center of your business model. But value propositions don't exist independently. They exist always in relationship to a customer segment. So in the value proposition, you define how exactly you're creating value for a specific customer segment. Let's define what a value proposition is. It outlines how a bundle of products and services creates value for a specific customer segment. It helps your customers address a fundamental problem or need. We call this a job to be done. It kills your customers' pains, and it creates gains or outcomes for them. It's basically what attracts your customers to do business with you. And here's an important message. It's not the technology or product per se. Let's look at an example together. Let's study Nestlé, and we'll look at their yogurt brand that we studied before, LC1. We said the product is what they offer their consumers. This is not entirely correct because the product is just a product. It's actually a key resource. The value proposition is that it creates a gentle and natural regulation of digestion. Okay, this is not a dinner topic, but this is the value proposition of LC1, and it addresses specific customer concerns. On the one hand, a real pain is constipation, and on the other hand, a lot of customers say, one of their jobs to be done is a healthy bowel movement. Addressing this specific customer pain and customer job helped LC1 really take off. Your value proposition describes how you create customer value. It's not just the product. Let's look at a second example. A couple of years ago, I worked for a global hygiene product company, and we were doing a workshop with the people that are in B2B and that help in this business of washroom installations all around the world. I saw them working on their business model canvas across the room, and this was the picture that I saw from afar. I came over and asked them, okay, so you're offering hygiene solutions to 3 customer segments: facilities managers, washroom users, and wholesales. Yes, correct. That's what they answered. So I said, let's frame this in a slightly different way. What are the jobs to be done of your facilities managers? Well, they want to, replace the toilet paper. They want to do this at a very low cost. They want to keep the facilities clean. That's the real job to be done. Okay. And what about the washroom users? Is their job different? Oh, yeah. They want to wash their hands, dry their hands, and leave. Okay. And what about wholesales? Is their job different? Oh, very different. They basically just want to sell as much as they can. So you are telling me that you have 3 different jobs, very different jobs, but the same value proposition? And it clicked immediately, because hygiene solutions is not a value proposition. That's just what they have as a key resource, their technologies and their products, and they need to create a value proposition around that for each specific customer segment. So your product or technology is not your value proposition. It's how, specifically, you create value for a customer segment. Let's look at a couple of value drivers, themes that help your customers create value. The first theme is helping customers get a functional job done. Maybe your value proposition performs better than anything else out there. Of course, this only matters if this is relevant to your customers. Or maybe your value proposition helps get the job done better than anything else out there. Or it could be that your value proposition is more customized than anything else out there. Or maybe your value proposition gives access to something that was not accessible before. In the case of Amazon Web Services, they give access to infrastructure that was only accessible to large companies before. Or it could be that your value proposition excels at usability. Or maybe you're much cheaper than everybody else out there and you perform well on price. Or it could be that you help your customers reduce cost. So Salesforce allows customers to reduce their cost of ownership of the IT infrastructure. The second theme is helping customers get a social job done. Maybe your value proposition allows your customers to increase their status. Maybe your value proposition helps your customers better communicate. Or it could be that your value proposition helps your customers be fashionable. Or your value proposition might outperform others on newness. Of course, again, this only matters if it's relevant to your customers. The third theme is helping customers get an emotional job done. It could be that your customers are worried of not getting the lowest price, so you can help them reduce that risk. It could be that your customers really care about design. Or you might help your customers with their emotional state with your value proposition. To finish this lesson, let's look at a frequently observed mistake. When people use the Business Model Canvas, they often tend to put a lot of information in the value proposition block. And that's because they want to show off how they're creating value. But the idea of the Business Model Canvas is not just to focus on one block, it's to understand the big picture of how you're creating, delivering, and capturing value. Don't just focus on the value proposition here, focus on the entire business model. The detail of your value proposition is something you put in another tool, the Value Proposition Canvas. And that's what we're going to study later on. There you can sketch out all the details of how you're creating value for customer segments. And in the Value Proposition Canvas, you'll give your value proposition a title. And that's what should go in the Business Model Canvas, where you study the big picture. We'll learn a lot more about mapping out value propositions when we study the Value Proposition Canvas. Use the Business Model Canvas to answer how you're creating value profitably, and use the Value Proposition Canvas to answer in detail how you're addressing customer jobs, pains, and gains. Class dismissed.